Hey guys, how are you? Right here, right now is very dreary, but you know, it makes traffic slow down a lot, which means I get a little bit more peace and quiet, so that's good for me. I haven't been able to record as much. We've had some really big stuff going on, but I mean, it brought up another aspect of humanity that the Jehovah's Witness, or I should say Watchtower. Jehovah's Witnesses don't do it. They do it at the behest of Watchtower. Just another piece of humanity that they take away from you. So, like, they do that a lot. You can't love your child or your family or your friends and have natural human affection if they break a rule. You can't have aspirations and, goals outside of their own without a lot of trouble. You can't have natural human desires outside of a very specific circumstance. You have to have that presentation of happy all the time because this is the best life ever. And there are elders who say, if you're struggling with your mental health right now, this is a you problem because Jehovah's people are a happy people. I can name names. Don't push me. They take your humanity. As a little bit of backstory to this, through my husband, I've been kind of welcomed into yet another family. It's a whole family of family friends. Like, family's just awesome. And I love them dearly. And they lost their son. It was very sudden. It was an accident. It was very unexpected. But it hit me a lot harder than I thought it would. Well, not that I was planning on how it would hit me, but you know what I mean. It hit me a lot harder than it made sense to. And I was talking about it with my counselor, and I'm like, who's the last person that you lost that you were close to? And this was like way back before I woke up from the Watchtower. When my grandmother died, I was allowed to go to her service. But because almost all of her friends and family that would be there outside of one family would all be Jehovah's Witnesses, I was asked not to come. When my great-grandmother died, I was allowed to go to the service again, and because the Kingdom Hall was hosting the wake, or whatever you want to call it, I was told I would not be allowed to go. I thought I was the problem at that point. But they don't allow you that humanity. Especially as whatever form of outcast you are from the group. I could have cured cancer or world hunger, and I wouldn't have been permitted to attend these events. But let's take a step back and look at death in general in the Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't take it seriously. You're pushed into a little box. And in that box, in an even smaller space, you have to push all of those feelings. You have to push your loss and your grief down. You know, you're indoctrinated to believe that there's an afterlife of non-existence. That whole infamous Tony Morris video where he gets so excited about blowing out that little match, his little apostate match. He gets so excited the man grunts before he blows it out. Nobody's talking about this grunt. Dude gets so excited he grunts before he blows this apostate match out. And like, poof, you're gone like a puff of smoke. You know, the next time any good God-fearing, you know, does their 10 hours a month. So you're taught that, like, your afterlife is going to consist of you waking up in a paradise earth after Armageddon. You're going to wake up, bury bodies, teach people about Jehovah, this and that and whatever, and everybody's going to have a pet panda. My grandparents are going to be ruled over by, like, some PTSD adult drunk. Oh, sorry. I will stop talking about Tony. And that's it. You're going to see these people again. It's okay to be sad, just like it's okay to ask questions. But breathe too hard, too long, or too openly. And you're not representing well. You got to be united in faith. You got to be strong in faith. There was a friend of mine, not a friend of mine, there was a lady in our congregation when I was growing up. Her son was killed in a car accident on a meeting night. Obviously, she's traumatized. She's devastated. She doesn't know what to do, so she goes to the meeting because that's the only place that she's been allowed to feel safe. They praised her from the stage, they praised her. They didn't offer their condolences. They praised her from the stage. And if that wasn't weird freaking enough, the crowd clapped for her. They clapped when her son was killed in a car accident just hours before getting off from school. Between school and the meeting, he was driving home. Teenage kid. Just hours before, and she goes to the meeting and they clap for her? Because she went to the meeting. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. My hair is fluffy. Welcome to muggy weather. It's like, really all it is you're sad, you're hurting, you need some time to yourself. You're doing good if you go to the meeting, though. No one's going to blame you, but if you go, you're going to get praise. And if people know it, they're going to feel like they're pressured into going to the meeting. Oh, dear gracious. And then you get to the service for funerals. If you're a witness in good standing, you get to have your funeral, whoopee, at the Kingdom Hall. And they'll praise you in your casket for that being your last good witness. Because your funeral service isn't a funeral service. It's a recruiting event where they take out, like, it's almost like, I've been to so many of them. It's almost like they have this template where they just take out these little blanks and they fill in the blanks. You got this name, this interest, when they became a witness, and, how much they were treasured, some sort of field service story. And, kind of when it's all said and done, if you need the peace and comfort of like paradise or something, we've got meetings at this time, and this time. And if you have another language, we have those too at this and this time. You can have a free home Bible study because everybody else charges for it. No, they don't. It's a recruiting event. Even in grief, you're supposed to live for the Borg. And it's insane. They did the service on the football field for my friend. And despite COVID, if somebody was beside themselves with grief, complete strangers would console them. I know that's not smart in COVID, but we need those moments of humanity at times. His old friends found out that his mom wasn't eating. And they didn't just bring over food or sit and talk. They found out she wasn't eating and they crowded into her house. And took her out to dinner. And this is a good family. She knew them all. So I know she had to feel really, really good knowing that all these people who were a part of her son were there. Nobody told her it's not a big deal. Nobody told her it's okay, you'll see him again. Nobody asked her why she was so upset. Nobody questioned anything. Every last person there saw every last person there for a human being and took care of them out of respect for what they were going through. They didn't have to know them. And for that matter, if they didn't know them, they didn't even have to like them. They just had to know that they were hurting. Times that I've gone to Jehovah's Witness funerals. Somebody told them, so what, because of something about paradise. Like, how do you lose that much compassion? How do you expect people not to grieve? This is still a loss in your lifetime, but yet I've heard the stories and I've seen it done. And yet you go to these worldly events and the empathy and the care that they have for one another. Puppies barking at the puppies outside the car. The care that they have for one another is their bridge. That's all they need to care, is knowing that this other person is hurting, and the fact that somebody else cares that they're hurting is very healing. And after spending so many years thinking I was the problem, and going to so many funerals where I wasn't allowed to have the consolation that I needed because they couldn't even be that kind in such a hard moment. After going to worldly funerals, well, like, they didn't know any better. They weren't baptized Jehovah's Witnesses. They might get another chance. I'm going to be dead. But this person might not be. Like, after, like, it was very different not being pushed into a box. But, and it was very healing to have that experience in the way that I did, because we were able to memorialize this person in the best way that we could and not be stuffed down into a box where it's possible to grieve too much. Anywho, that was my thought. It's a long video.